Hello everybody and welcome back to Danganronpa V3, Still in Harmony. Last time I ended the trial off at a bit of a cliffhanger, but unfortunately there wasn't much I can do unless I wanted the video to go on to about an hour. So, regardless, let's continue this trial and nip it in the bud. It would be a mistake to vote before we completely solve Anji's murder.
And there's still the mystery of Tenko's murder.
Mystery? What kind of mystery?
Well, Kyo's confession derailed our conversation a bit. But we still have to go over one of the clues found at Tenko's crime scene. I believe it might even have something to do with Anji's murder.
Yes, the outline piece of evidence at Tenko's murder scene. I know what this is. You.
This is it!
There's some extra blood down there.
The blood stain found under the floor. Maki and I found it during the investigation. It was beneath the floorboard that the culprit stomped on.
Is that Tenko's blood?
That bloodstain was too far from Tenko's corpse to have been hers.
Also, the bloodstain was already dry when we found it. But the blood from Tenko's body hadn't even begun to dry yet.
Probably still warm and everything.
Well, that's weird. Why was that bloodstain the only dry one?
The bloodstain on the floorboard is dry because it was there before Tenko. The air was dry. The blood was spilled before the seance and Tenko was killed. It dried fast because the stain was smaller. Okay, fine. The air was dry. It happened before the seance.
That's it!
Okay, I don't know what that means.
The bloodstain wasn't from Tenko's murder. It was there before we started the seance.
That's what the other one said too.
Or the seance?
Or whatever. Let's make it clear whose blood it was. The blood came from Anji, I think, maybe.
That's it!
There's no evidence leaning towards it, but it makes a better
That
point.
bloodstain wasn't Tenko's. It was Anji's.
Why was blood from Angie at the scene of Tenko's murder?
Yeah, wasn't Angie killed in the research lab?
Just because we found her body there doesn't mean she was killed there.
Ah, I guess that's possible.
If Angie wasn't killed in her lab, then that opens up a lot more possibilities. We assumed that only council members could have killed Angie since her body was in her lab. But if she died somewhere else, then we can't suspect just the council members anymore.
So the culprit didn't enter her lab, but waited for her to come out of it?
I'm not sure if the culprit waited for her, but they probably killed her when she came out. Well, I thought that was more likely from the start.
Okay.
So I went to places Angie might have gone and checked all 3 empty rooms.
Places she might have gone? Why did you check the empty rooms then?
The empty rooms were the only places I could think of that Angie would go.
Did Angie have business in rooms?
It seems Kokichi's up to his usual misleading nonsense again.
Oh boy.
I do lie a lot, and I could be lying right now too. But I'm pretty sure someone's panicking right now because of my lie.
Anji left the lab on her own and headed to the room where she was killed. Is Kokichi's statement true, or...
The art research lab is not where Angie was killed. She was killed in the empty room instead!
She left her lab on her own?
But why would she go into an empty room? There shouldn't have been anything in there.
Except for candles.
What's an Necronomicon say? Doesn't shake, it's relevant, make out of it. Oh no, I don't think that has anything to do with it.
That's it! She wanted a candle!
Candle.
Keep herself awake at night. She would drip hot wax on her body.
Why the fuck?
That sounds like something only you would do, Bee.
What did Kokichi see? Something Anji did, but there has to be a clue there.
The art research lab is not where Angie was killed. She was killed in the empty...
She left her lab on her own?
But why would she go into an empty room? There shouldn't have been anything in there. Except for candles.
That's it! She...
Yes, that's actually it.
I agree.
I forgot you need to burn the book.
That's it. Angie went to that room to get a candle.
Yeah, her tinky wax play.
Nope, something a bit more important.
No. Angie was going to use it for the ritual. According to the Necronomicon, to resurrect the dead.
After preparing the effigy, burn this Necronomicon to ashes. Be careful if you use caustic and be careful of carbon monoxide poisoning.
Then, did she seek out a candle so she could burn the book?
That's right. There's nothing to start a fire with in Angie's lab. So she went to go get a candle from one of the empty rooms.
It's a good plan.
And that's when the culprit attacked her.
Maybe thumbnail, maybe not. You couldn't tell me. Only I can. That makes another one anyway.
Dry blood underfloor.
Which means Angie was attacked in the same room the seance was held. Bravo, Himiko. Well done for choosing that room for the seance. If we hadn't done the seance in that room, then Tenko's murder would have been in another room. If that happened, no one would have discovered Angie's bloodstain under the floorboards.
That's right. Shuichi and I only checked under the floorboards where Tenko died.
Yep, it's all thanks to Himiko for choosing the same room as Angie. This must be Atua's will. Or maybe the power of magic.
Who knows?
It's neither. I just picked one.
Hold on. You're all acting as though you've proven that as fact already.
Oh, you sound a bit worried.
You claim Angie was murdered in the empty room, and then moved to the lab?
Blood pool. Oh.
Then how do you explain the large amount of blood in the lab? It may be possible to carry a body, but blood cannot be moved.
Well, paint. Could be paint.
I think she was still alive after the attack in the empty room. She was killed after she was carried to her lab.
That means the culprit attacked her twice. And I have evidence of that. Yep. Forehead injury.
This is it! The fatal wound was a cut to the back of her neck from the katana. But she also showed signs of blunt force trauma, and I think I know why. After Angie was knocked unconscious in the empty room, she was killed in her lab.
I see. So that puddle of blood is from the killing blow. Ha! It's all clear now. Angie was attacked in the empty room, carried to her lab, and it was there that the culprit finished her off.
All clear. This is all clear. What are you all talking about?
You killed both of them, man?
All clear. What is all clear? What are you? All clear?
Clear as crystal, man. Clear as acrylic. No, acrylic is paint, and paint typically isn't clear. That would defeat the entire purpose, but forget about that.
What are you all... You what? What are...
I will not fear. I will not back down.
What the fuck are your lips? You have tiny lips.
Sweet Korekio, calm yourself. Their words are all hollow. There is no meaning to any of them.
There, this is the turn, a twist, a turn.
You must teach these ignorant children a lesson.
Is that the ghost from whatchamacallit?
Yes, you're right. Okay, I'll teach them.
You possessed by the ghost of small lips?
What the hell are you mumbling about? You're giving me the goddamn willies!
Not yet. Nothing is clear at all.
I'd say it's about as clear as apple juice. It's pretty clear, but not extremely.
It's full of doubts, of mysteries, of a dense, impenetrable fog! Nothing is clear at all!
Okay, let's do this.
Angie was attacked in the empty room first, and then carried into the research lab? Impossible! Impossible!
That's through the duct
That's
tape.
nothing but a delusion! You intend to poison our minds with your delusions?
Oh, no. Okay, the game was gonna crash for a second there.
It's no delusion. Angie's 2 external wounds tell the story.
Yeah, they do.
After she was struck in the empty room, she was carried to the art research lab and then killed.
You say the culprit carried Angie's body?
That's
And
not what it
not a
meant.
single drop of blood fell? The hallway and empty room had no blood stains.
So you did see blood in the hallway. Yeah, okay, fine.
I was wrong!
Okay, fair enough.
You say the culprit carried Angie's body? And not a single drop of blood fell? The hallway and empty room had no blood stains. Even if you wiped them down later, there'd still be traces of evidence left behind. But there was no evidence anywhere, was there, Shuichi?
Cut through your words!
You and your possessed friend. I don't know what that is.
There was evidence left at the scene. The bloody tape under Angie's body. What? It was wrapped around her head to stop the bleeding while she was being carried.
Bloody tape? Donta didn't notice at all.
It was under the body. It's most likely evidence the culprit should have gotten rid of. But since it was hidden, the culprit didn't notice and failed to dispose of it.
It must have fallen as the fatal blow was dealt, and ended up under her body.
Must have been Atua who did that for us.
Yeah, it must have been, huh?
What? Atua? How long are you going to keep that up?
Now we know most of the mystery behind Angie's murder.
I'm convinced there's only one person who could have killed Angie.
Did you kill her just to bring suspicion off yourself? Come on.
It has to be you!
God damn, that's a
It's
bit
you, Kyo.
complicated.
You killed Angie!
What the fuck? So it's true!
Both.
Well, that was obvious. Such a boring, obvious answer.
Killed both of them.
Double kill.
Why did you kill them?
To get out of here, it's fairly obvious.
In terms of pure logic, only one victim was necessary to win.
Why? Why you killed them both?
I think one of the murders was an accident.
An accident?
That's right. It wasn't part of the plan.
Huh? Which one?
The murder that was an accident. Murder of Angie.
That's it!
Aha!
Angie's murder was an accident.
What? Keiko wasn't accident?
That's right. Kyo originally planned to kill someone with a seesaw trap.
Oh, but she saw Angie first.
But while he was making preparations in the empty room, Angie walked in.
Oh, and also, okay, so that's why he wanted me to help earlier. Like, he would say that just, you want to help with the preparations. And I was like, oh yeah, hell yeah, anything to make a tour seem stupid.
So he decided to kill her in order to keep her from talking.
No witnesses.
She just happened to walk in on the culprit setting up and was killed.
Then he should have just stopped there. Once he killed Angie, there was no reason for him to kill Tinko.
He only needed to kill one for this game. Killing two is pointless. If you get bonus points for killing more, then sure. Otherwise, it leaves more clues behind.
Why, Kyo? Why you killed two of our friends?
What on earth are you talking about? No, I'm not the culprit.
Nah, you're probably the culprit.
So, why is everyone looking at me like I am? Why? Why are they? Why is it?
A bit
Calm yourself, Korekio.
batshit insane.
Yes. You mustn't raise your voice. You mustn't stutter. You mustn't lose composure. You mustn't become flustered. You mustn't waver. Look at their horrid faces. This sorry lot is not worth agonizing over. You're right. Yeah, you're right.
There he goes again. What the hell's wrong with him?
It almost seems like he's talking with someone.
Maybe he is possessed by a ghost.
Someone? He's just talking to himself. And why the hell is he wearing lipstick?
No matter how loudly you protest, this is a trivial matter. I will never acknowledge your allegations. Not a single one of them.
No one cares.
So you see, there is no evidence that I killed Angie.
That is true. No evidence of you specifically, but the katana is a nice part of it.
No, I will not acknowledge it. I will only acknowledge facts, true events. I won't acknowledge fiction, mystery. I won't acknowledge your deductions or guesses. Well said. Good job, Korekio. Yes, thanks.
Creeps me the fuck out!
No evidence. There's no evidence that he killed Anji? It's obviously the katana and the hilt.
You're wrong. There is evidence.
Well, see, not hilt.
What? You do realize bluffs like that won't work, yes?
The weapon that was used to knock Angie unconscious in the empty room. That weapon tells us the whole story, Kyo.
That's not possible. I think you may have misunderstood. Apologize. Come on, apologize. 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 Apologize.
I don't feel like it, man.
Apologize. 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 Apologize.
Nah, I'm good.
Seriously, what the hell's happening?
I have no idea what's happening with Kyo. But I know what weapon he used to kill Angie. I have to prove it to him. What the fuck is...
I have nothing to admit. You are simply wrong. Yes, I'm not the culprit. So I have nothing to confess.
You all possessed as hell, man.
I have nothing to admit. You are simply wrong. Yes, I'm not the culprit. So I have nothing to confess. I have nothing to admit. You are simply wrong.
That's how I do, huh?
Why must you force your delusions on us?
You're lying.
That's merely a delusion. Well said, Korekio.
Okay.
To continue this debate is meaningless. Why must you force your delusions on us?
You're lying.
That's merely a delusion. Well said, Korekio. To continue this debate is meaningless. Why must you force your delusions on us? That's merely a delusion.
You're losing.
I told you I am not the culprit. So why are you looking at me like that? You're all wrong, not me. Correcchio speaks the truth. Such a sorry lot.
About the ghost shit.
Apologize. Apologize.
Apologize.
Apologize. I told you I am not the culprit. So why are you looking at me like that? You're all wrong, not me. Correcchio speaks the truth. Such a sorry lot.
Stop it.
Apologize. Apologize.
Apologize.
Apologize. I told you I am not the culprit. So why are you looking at me like that? You're all wrong, not me. Correcchio speaks the truth. Such a sorry lot. Apologize. Apologize. Apologize.
Apologize.
I told you I am not the culprit. So why are you looking at me like that? You're all wrong, not me. Correcchio speaks the truth. Such a sorry lot. Apologize. Apologize. Apologize.
Apologize.
I told you I am not the culprit. So why are you... You have no proof that Correcchio is the killer.
Floorboard refloor.
I told you I am not the culprit. So why are you looking at me like that?
It's the floorboard removed. I messed up
You
last
have
time.
no proof that Correcchio is the killer.
God damn it. Floorboard removed, please.
I told you I am not the culprit. So why are you looking at me like that?
Okay.
You have no proof that Correcchio is the killer.
Floorboard removed. There we go.
I told you I am
Oh, you
not
moved
the
floorboard.
culprit. So why are you looking
Same
at me like
difference,
that?
though.
You're all wrong, not me.
Sorry.
You have no proof that Correcchio is the killer.
Remove floorboard.
It ends here!
Okay. What the? Okay.
Keo hit Angie with the same floorboard he used in the seesaw trick.
I'll have a trick. That was the weapon.
I see. And how do you know the floorboard was the murder weapon?
It wasn't a murder weapon. She used it to hit him first time.
There was a small patch of dried blood on the underside of the floorboard. Angie's blood?
Yeah, boy.
Blood that spattered there when the culprit struck Angie with the board. But that's not the only evidence that she was hit with that floorboard.
What head injury?
There's also the bloodstain under the floor to consider. For that to be there, the floorboard must not have been in place at the time of the attack.
Good point. Had the floorboard been in place, her blood wouldn't have splattered beneath it.
Keo's earlier confession is further evidence that the floorboard was used.
How?
If the weapon used to hit Angie is the floorboard from the seesaw trick,
It means the culprit knew about the seesaw, so the same person killed Tenko and Angie.
That is one long ass scream.
I believe that while Keo was setting up the seesaw, he was holding the board when Angie walked in.
And he cold-cocked her with the floorboard.
Get smacked.
all you can do now is accept it. You even confessed to Tenko's murder already.
It's true. This is the truth.
Looks like we're almost at the end.
You only have a bit of a execution to wait for now.
All right, Shunichi. I'll leave the finale to you. Bring down the house.
Hell yeah, thanks man.
Put an end to this.
Shut up.
For Angie and Tenko's sake. End this class trial.
I understand. I'll go over everything one more time.
I hate this.
Keo, I want you to confess. No, I will force you to confess.
I hate this part. I might even cut it out at this point. There we go.
This is the truth of the case! Let's look back at the first murder. It was late last night. The culprit was in the empty room on the 4th floor. The culprit was preparing the seance murder they had planned. To use the floorboard as a seesaw, they had to cut the crosspiece supporting it. The plan was to make the same preparations for all 3 empty rooms. This would divert suspicion away from the culprit and whoever picked a room. To cut the crosspieces, they needed a saw. I imagine they got one from the warehouse.
That's a weird looking saw, but I guess it's meant to cut small things, not big things.
They were planning to cut the crosspieces in all 3 rooms.
That's a cute animation.
However, when the culprit was working on the middle room, the unexpected happened.
That's adorable.
Angie walked into that room and saw the culprit making their preparations. She needed some fire for the ritual and had gone to the room for a candle. At that point, the culprit had not finished the setup and was just cutting crosspieces. Angie might not have concluded that it was tied to some kind of murder plan. But now that Angie had seen it, the culprit couldn't use the seesaw trick. Any other person might have just given up, but not our culprit. The culprit took the floorboard they loosened and struck the unsuspecting Angie in the head. The culprit did not want to give up on their plan and had to improvise. They wrapped duct tape around Angie's injury to stop the bleeding. Then they picked up her unconscious body and carried her to a research lab. While she was unconscious, the culprit hurried to tie up this loose end. But because they were in a hurry, they made a crucial oversight. They didn't notice the duct tape had peeled off and was under Angie's body. Without that evidence, we may never have figured out the culprit's trick. Carrying the supplies they needed, the culprit returned to the ultimate art lab. Locked the front door from inside. And took out the katana they brought from their own lab. They then stabbed Angie in the back of the neck, finally killing her.
Bada bing, bada boom.
Then, to further confuse us, the culprit attempted to make a locked room mystery. First, they used rope from the warehouse and hung 4 effigies upside down. There were 2 reasons for this. To overwhelm the room with an occult atmosphere. And the other was the key to locking the room. The culprit stuck the katana into Kaede's effigy near the rear entrance. And spun the effigy around to twist up the rope. After enough turns, the culprit let go and headed for the rear door. once released, the effigy began spinning, and the gold leaf katana with it.
You know, I always knew Kaede was one for simple misdeeds, like with Rentaro's death, but this too, it's kind of funny at this point. It's kind of funny.
The handle of the katana then hit the sliding lock, locking the door. A difficult trick, but remember that the lock was so loose it moved at the slightest touch. The culprit also would have had the opportunity to attempt it many times. Once complete, the door was locked, but the duct tape was left behind. Perhaps the culprit noticed it, but by that point, it was too late. The room was sealed. There was no way for them to get back inside. Then, this morning, we opened up the room and discovered Angie's body.
Very dead.
But the culprit wasn't finished. They wanted one more murder.
Why? You couldn't tell me.
To do that, they manipulated us into performing this seance. Of the 3 empty rooms, the middle one was chosen for the seance. I was invited by Kokichi to take Kibo's place in the seance. Tenko volunteered to be the medium, but she never imagined it would get her killed. To perform the seance, the culprit claimed they needed something for Tenko. A small stone that Himiko had brought from the courtyard. Tenko, at the culprit's request, bowed her head until it was touching the stone. That position was instrumental in making sure the murder went as planned. Next, Kokichi and I placed the iron cage over Tenko, in the middle of the magic circle. The culprit then volunteered to drape the white cloth over the iron cage. We didn't realize it at the time, but that was a deliberate decision by the culprit. They needed to set up the murder weapon that was used to kill Tenko. While they were covering the cage with a cloth, they secretly placed the sickle. Finally, 4 of us placed the wooden statue on top of the cage. The culprit used the weight of the statue to keep the murder weapon in place. After the preparations were complete, we began the seance. In complete darkness, we each stood in one corner and sang the Cage Child song.
Yo ho, and a bottle of rum.
When the song finished, the soul of the dead was supposed to enter the medium. But our culprit had another plan, to commit a murder in the darkness. Right after we started singing, the culprit began making their way toward Tenko. It would have been quite difficult to do in total darkness, but our culprit had a guide.
A nice game plan. Wikipedia.
They used the lines of the magic circle drawn with salt. The culprit felt for the salt and used it to guide them along. And when the culprit reached the center of the circle, they found the floorboard that had its crosspiece cut off the night before. Then lifted up their foot and stomped down hard on the floorboard. The floorboard lifted up like a seesaw and pushed Tenko's body up toward the ceiling of the cage. Tenko was stabbed in the back of the neck by the sickle on the top of the cage. She was killed right before our eyes, and we didn't even see it.
I need a poisoning. Like a direct poisoning.
After committing the crime, the culprit followed the Salt back to their corner. Finished the ritual and had us light the candles. We followed the culprit's directions and removed the equipment used for the seance. And discovered Tenko's body. While we were all focused on the body, the culprit picked up the sickle and dropped it under the floor through the hole in the corner of the room. Ironically, the final step of the murder was unwittingly carried out by us. The culprit had planned the murder so that we would unintentionally destroy some evidence. That evidence was the magic circle that the culprit used to navigate in the dark. However, the culprit didn't know that Kibo had taken a picture. He really saved us. Without that, we wouldn't know what changes were made to the circle. But now we know for certain, and we know the culprit drew the magic circle. Korekyo Shinguchi, the ultimate anthropologist. You're the culprit behind these murders.
Let's go! Hello everyone, Future Slamburger here. I'm kind of sorry to have to do this, but I have to split this piece into two. I know it's a bit of a cliffhanger, except it's not really a cliffhanger considering the guy has already been convicted. It's about as much of a cliffhanger as as in anything that's not a cliffhanger. But regardless, I am sorry for that. The original video is like an hour, 20 minutes long, not including cuts. Of course, I cut like a good 10 minutes out. But regardless, I don't want to have an hour-long video and stuff, so I kind of gotta tone that down, you know? In the meantime, I think for future videos, I'm gonna be throwing in a bit more spice, just a bit more randomness, if you know what I mean. Having all these series kind of really drags me down. Like, I noticed if I were to throw like random videos in, I'd get at least a subscriber a week. And in the past 28 days, I've only gotten 2. And I have no doubt that that's at least 80% Danganronpa 3's fault. Now, I'm gonna finish it. Don't get me wrong. I am not going to stop playing Danganronpa V3. I'm going to stop a lot of the seriousness that my channel's been doing recently. Like, for instance, I am stopping Echo Night Beyond, and, well, just Echo Night Beyond. And I'm probably going to get back to Yumatuki eventually. First, I want to play To the Moon, not To the Moon, I mean, the third game in To the Moon franchise. Enough of this stupid monologue, though. I'll see you next time, and bye.